The channel you want to listen to. Dover Community Radio.
Although never recognised as official Olympic events, the crafts of knitting and crochet form a very important part of Dover's planned celebrations for next year's arrival of the Olympic torch. Bunting Forever is a project to produce miles of knitted bunting to dress the town and help welcome the torch in July 2012. Julie Bishop is leading the Bunting Forever project in association with Dover Arts Development, and also helps run the increasingly popular Knit and Natter sessions at Amina's Cafe in Dover.
If anybody ran it, I think everybody else probably considers that I run it.
Okay.
I was the person who came up with the idea jointly with the lady who owns the cafe because she knew I had an interest in crafts and was looking to have a regular sort of a meeting point, and she very kindly offered her cafe. We've had a sort of a hardcore group right from the very beginning of about half a dozen people who attend most of the meetings. People have flitted in and out, come for a few weeks, never seen again, but gradually it is really increasing in popularity, and generally each week we have more and more people coming along.
Good stuff. And now you've got a specific project working with Dover Arts Development.
Well, we have had specific projects in the past. The previous project was blanket squares for blankets for the homeless originally, but it became so successful that some of those have been exported to Romania for orphans, and also some of the nicer ones have been sold, proceeds going towards the local Pilgrims Hospice.
Right.
We didn't intend to sell them, but they were just on display in the window, and we actually had people coming in asking if they could buy them, which was how that came about.
Lovely compliment.
So yes, and that had proved very, very successful, and as a result of that we've got a number of people who are housebound or live a distance away, but actually became involved in the project, knitted squares and sent them in, and I'm hopeful that the same thing will happen with the bunting.
So it is bunting that we're specifically concentrating on at the moment, and that's what you're working with, Dad?
Yes, that's right.
So you're knitting bunting for the Olympics?
Yes, it's a lovely project. We had hoped that we may get a little bit of bunting up for the royal wedding, but unfortunately, for various reasons, we weren't able to organise that. And there was a little bit of local criticism about the lack of bunting and other things in Dover for the royal wedding. And as a result of that, we're really, really excited that we are going to have a big, big project, and we are really going to make Dover look the business towards the Olympic torch arriving.
So how do people knit bunting?
Very simply. If you can knit,
I'm not bad with the old knit one, purl one myself.
You don't even need to do the purl one.
Is that right?
It's just knit, yes. It's very, very simple and straightforward. If you choose to, you can make the pattern more fancy, but there is a very, very basic pattern on the DAD website to get people started. Okay. It can be knitted with virtually any yarn that you have to hand, anything that's kicking about in the cupboard, any size needles, suitable for absolute total beginners. And for people who are still a little anxious they may not be able to manage it, we are holding workshops throughout the year. There'll be at least one workshop a month where people can come along.
And where can they come to?
They will be coming to the DAD studio at the old sorting office.
Yeah. And there's even a cheats bunting if you really can't get your needles out, isn't there?
There is. That will be made at those same workshops for people who can neither knit nor crochet but would still like to contribute to the project. We'll be using old shrunken jumpers that have no further use at all, which can be cut into bunting flags and attached to them.
Was sewing involved?
Doesn't need to be any sewing involved at all. The plan is that all the flags will actually be crocheted together in a very, very, very simple chain. Okay. And that includes the felted ones cut from old jumpers.
Now, there's one thing that concerns me. What if it rains? Because knitting and rain.
The actual making of the bunting?
No,
or
when it's
hanging up.
Yeah.
It's not a problem.
Is it not?
It will get wet and then it will dry out. We've got round that by purchasing very long lengths of very cheap washing line.
Oh,
and
clever.
It's going to be crocheted onto the washing line.
Clever.
So it won't stretch and it should be pretty durable. We're hopeful that it will last for years to come. And although primarily it's for the Olympics, it can be brought out for any occasion.
Wonderful. Then we don't have to have plastic things with Olympic rings printed on them.
Exactly. It involves the whole community. Every single person can contribute and feel they've done their little bit, take pride in the community in Dover,
for sure,
and feel very, very proud that we're contributing to the Olympics.
But your debut is much, much sooner than the Olympics, is it not? Won't the Bunting be making an early
Well, the
outing?
launch of the Olympic bunting will be at the Cultural Olympiad at the end of July in the Market Square.
Okay.
It's one of 3 projects that are being launched simultaneously.
So will you have any bunting on display?
We certainly shall.
Excellent.
The plan is that the table, which is one of the 3 projects to be launched that day, will be adorned with handmade upcycled bunting.
How perfectly Olympic. Congratulations, and I wish you well with it. And if I don't get my needles out, I'll get my scissors out and shrink a jumper or 2.
That's wonderful. We'll be very happy to have you on board.
To download your bunting, knitting or crochet pattern, visit dadonline.eu. Workshops begin on the 6th of August 2011 from 10 till 4 in the Dad Studio at the old sorting office in Charlton Green, and then continue monthly. Alternatively, you can visit Julie on the 22nd and 23rd of July in Dover Market Square.
The sound of Wycliffe's country. DCR, the channel you want to listen to.